There is an enormous crowd gathered. This case has garnered so much attention there outside of Boston, but also really worldwide. And as the news of the verdict being reached started to spread, we saw the crowds gather. You could even hear the crowd roaring once the verdict came in. You could hear the cheers. We have Emily Aketa, who's posted outside the courthouse there. Emily, I can hear them still going on right now.
Yeah, absolutely. This is the verdict that this crowd of Karen Read supporters had been hoping for, and you can see why police closed down the streets as soon as they heard word that there was a verdict that would be delivered. You can see them cheering. They're facing the courthouse, waiting for Karen Read to walk out of the courthouse. There's been various family and friends of hers walking out that they have been cheering to along the way. There was emotional. You could see on those screens inside the courtroom, but also outside as well. This has been the loudest this crowd has been since the start of this retrial, because they actually were ordered not to make any sounds. They weren't supposed to chant. They weren't supposed to cheer. And so while Karen Read has been going in and out of this courthouse, they have been silently showing their support with just showing this sign, I love you, the American Sign Language for I love you. But now you can hear the excitement. Right now they are chanting free Karen Read behind me. Just briefly talking to people, they say, okay, yes, she was charged with that much lesser charge of operating a vehicle under the influence, but they were worried about those top charges because of the minimum mandatory sentences that they could carry. This is what they had been hoping for. I've spoken with people who have flown from Michigan, who have flown from Florida to be here today, hoping that a verdict would be delivered. As you well know, Laura, it has been a long road to this point with a lot of legal twists. Even earlier today, at one point, the judge had reconvened court. They called back the prosecution. They called back the defense. And they said that the jury had knocked on the door earlier today saying that they had a verdict, but then a short time later knocked again and said they didn't have a verdict. So the judge ordered them to go back to the deliberation room and said that that verdict slip would be sealed. But then a very short time later, we got word that there was indeed a verdict, and they ruled not guilty on manslaughter while operating a vehicle under the influence, second-degree murder, the top charge, and fleeing the scene of an accident, a deadly accident, but then convicting her on the operating under an influence, which is an interesting note on that verdict slip, Laura, because that was not an option for the jury in the last trial, and it's something that the defense had pushed to add on the verdict slip this time. It seemed like it was a successful strategic move. On the ground here, we are now waiting to hear from Karen Read's defense team. She's been very vocal, as you well know, throughout this second trial, so we expect to hear from her on the steps behind, and you can see all of her supporters waiting with bated breath as well.
We thank you for watching, and remember, stay updated on breaking news and top stories on the NBC News app or watch live on our YouTube channel.